Whenever the pressure amps up a little bit, I tend to get a lot faster. So what I'm trying to do is just basically to calm myself down a little bit. In Rome, I sped up 100 times X than what I usually do because of the whole atmosphere, the whole environment of I don't know how many thousand people are watching and all that stuff. For me, growing up, our season was very limited in Sweden. I didn't have all these fancy putting greens. I wasn't able to practice my putting as much. You know, that made it a little bit difficult. And now I'm trying to make up for that a little bit. I feel like physically I'm pretty okay, but I feel like mental, there's always an edge where you can get better, and there's always more to explore with the way that the brain operates. I think there's a lot to learn from that. Whenever the pressure amps up a little bit, I tend to get a lot faster. So what I'm trying to do is just basically to calm myself down a little bit. In Rome, I sped up 100 times X than what I usually do because of the whole atmosphere, the whole environment of I don't know how many thousand people are watching and all that stuff. I like breathing. I think breathing exercises are good because it's very easy to, you know, get drawn into the past or the future as a golfer or as an athlete in general. The one technique that I've been using is the box breathing, where you basically breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds and hold it for 4 seconds. I was basically playing a tournament. I was close to the lead. The breathing exercises helped me to stay centered, stay where my feet are, and I actually ended up winning the tournament, so that was nice.
Hi, Ludvig.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
So Adidas set up this session between us and Ludvig to help explore mental pressure and how we can actually deal with it, especially on the putting green. So right now I'm just hooking him up so we can actually measure his brainwaves. So I'm just attaching electrodes to his scalp and yeah, getting him ready. What I see you do is I wouldn't say you're quick or rushing it, but you're fairly quick.
So my pace of play is very quick, but sometimes it's too quick. And that's a little bit my issue. What are these little discs, the circle?
Yeah, so those were the circles. Yeah. It's just to see and to have like a respective measurement. It's 8, 16, 30 feet. And we're just going to start putting from closer and then go further out.
Okay.
Do your routine?
Yep.
We start from here?
Yep.
Okay. And then in that moment, sound will go on.
Sound will go on.
Or off.
Or off, yeah.
Okay? Let's hope not, okay? Yeah, the sound tells us that you're in the zone. And once the sound stops, you've lost focus due to pressure, and that's what we'll be measuring today.
So here we have about a 10-foot putt, 12 maybe. I first try to feel how much break there is with my feet. And then obviously here I felt 2% of break, so I used 2 fingers. I used the line on the ball. I put up my putter, hold it over that line to kind of visualize it go in. When I'm behind it, I'll make 2 practice strokes. Once again, I try to visualize it go in and then try to put a good stroke on it. Sometimes it goes in.
Love it. Yeah. That's awesome, man.
It's hard to keep the focus on the same level for 30 seconds or more.
By the way, that's
Makes
normal.
sense.
Nobody's able to hold the focus for that long.
Right.
So if you have like this gut feeling, you go in, you're like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah.
Get out of the situation, redo it.
So the last tournament I played, I had my mentor walking with me, and he could tell the difference between my routine in certain putts, not only when I was over the ball, but the way I was, reading the putt, when I was walking around the hole. I was walking a lot faster. I was, fidgety. I was doing all these stuff. And then, we just try to slow everything down. And
it has to do with the fact that the brain, in this case, it's a little bit overactivated,
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to learn to calm it down and just do what you're doing right now, really. Right? Wow, man. Honestly, you might be one of those really quick learners. That's crazy. All right, Ludvig, so we looked into your brain data. Now it gets interesting because when we get to the green and you have like the further distances we had, like the 7 meter, 9 meters, you also were able to get, compared to the baseline, 110%. So pretty similar to there.
Yeah.
But when you get closer, it was only 24% more. It's harder for you to get in the zone the closer you get. Do you feel like that puts a pressure on you, or are you able to deal with those situations?
The best player in the world, he misses 50%. You can't expect to make every putt because the best player in the world doesn't do that.
Very good, very good.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
It was great to get to know you.
Great job. So yeah, we've basically been, I've been connecting. They have these electrodes to my brain, and they can kind of measure the brain frequency and activity. So it's been really cool to see basically if you're able to focus when you really need to, and then when you don't need to focus, that's when you need to focus off.
Well, there's several very interesting things. One of them, for example, is that compared to the baseline measurements, he's very good at getting into the zone when he starts his tee off and when he's from further distance. When it gets closer, in the brain data, we can see that when he's trying to get in the zone for those, it's really harder. And it has to do with that, that feeling of perceived pressure. So this is well known in golf.
It's so important to be able to focus on and focus off. There is just this one specific moment when you're over the ball that really matters. We are going to have a lot of pressure putts in the future, hopefully. And if I can somehow manage that a little bit better than I've done in the past, I think that'll be beneficial.
I think the problem is if you're an elite athlete, you're used to the feeling of pressure, you're taking it serious and you try to deal with it and try to get help for it, so people like us. Now for grassroots athletes, it's of course how good are you at analyzing yourself and how good are you able to deal with those different things.
I think pressure is a privilege, and I've earned the right to feel that pressure. That's the way I try to view it and not to overcomplicate it too much. I think it's really important to be in the present moment. Whatever helps you kind of come back to that as soon as possible. I think that's what we're all trying to figure out, and whatever works for you.
Under pressure.